much for joining us. It is my honor tonight to introduce to you Beth Barrett. Who has been the stellar programmer of SIFF for 13 years. So, quite a job. We're delighted to have her tonight. And so, to you, Beth.
Thank you. That's great. So yeah, it has been 13 years. It's my 13th festival, lucky 13. And I have to say, I started as a publications intern. I did not get paid. I credit checked things, and I looked for reviews, and I did all kinds of really random, weird stuff. And I talked to people. I talked to everyone in the office, and I met everyone that worked there. The next year, they gave me $500 to manage the publications department, which I thought was terrific at the time. It was amazing money. Little did I know that's not actually really a real paycheck. But for me, it was, because it got me in where I wanted to be. And it's that kind of drive. I had decided that I had worked for a film festival in Sydney, Australia, for a wonderful woman called Jenny Neighbor, who was programming manager there. She still is. And I was working for her as an intern, a volunteer intern, and decided I wanted her job. Ideally in Sydney, because I was living there at the time, but then I moved back home to Seattle. So I decided I wanted her job here, which I have. I have her job. The first year that happened, I was like, damn you, Jenny Neighbor. Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I know, my crazy story. It's like, damn you, Jenny Neighbor, that is a lot more work than you let on when I was working for you. But, which actually just goes to show you that when you find what you love doing, do it. Do it with everything that you have, because very few people get to do what they love. Very few in this world. And very few people get paid for what they love to do. So if you can find a way to get paid making films, that's also amazing. That is really spectacular. Or working in the film industry in general. But I think it's for me, I found what I wanted to do. I found what I wanted to do with my life, and I went for it. And it meant, mopping kindergarten floors for a little while to make my rent. But I did it, and here I am. And 13 years later, we are on the verge of launching the 41st Seattle International Film Festival with 450 films from 92 countries over 25 days in the Harvard exit again for our 24-day wait of the most amazing cinema. Very, very nice. We're also at the Uptown, of course, and at the Egyptian, and at Pack Place, and in Lincoln Square for 3 weeks, and in Kirkland, and down in Renton again. We've also got some special shows, one at Numos and one at the Neptune, which you can find out about all tomorrow around noon when our website goes live. So, but tonight what I'm going to talk to you guys about is how to, I don't want to say how to be a filmmaker, because you guys, you know that. You know how to be a filmmaker. You know what you want to do with films. It's more about how to be a filmmaker in public. How to be in the world as a filmmaker. The first thing you have to do, this is my lovely assistant, Dustin Casper. We are definitely hired out as a team. The first thing you have to do is commit. And that's what I was talking about being an intern, being an unpaid intern, working all nights, doing these kinds of things. You commit. You already know that, though, because you're making films. You have to commit to your films. If you don't commit to your films, you're going to make a half-assed film. Like anything else you do in your life. If I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, you can't do that if you don't get off the couch. You have to commit to it, right? You have to have that energy, you have to have that drive, and you have to decide that you want to do that. And so we're just going to say that this goes without saying, because everyone here has already done that. They've committed to films. So let's move on to bragging. So, you've made your film. You've committed. You've committed your economics. You've committed perhaps your mortgage. You've committed your energy. You've committed all of your friends. You've committed all your family. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to brag about that. You made a film. You made a great film. You made something that you can be proud of. Let people know about that. This is where the social world comes in. This is where you start getting out into the not real world, but that other nebulous world of social media. Now, you have to become comfortable promoting yourself. And I'm actually a very shy person. I know it doesn't kind of come out that way, but I'm actually a very shy person. And it's hard for me, to go out there and say, SIFF is amazing this year. I mean, I believe it because I know it, but I have to promote myself. I have to promote myself and the thing that I believe. You've made a film. You have to promote that. But you want to do it in a smart way. You've all, many of you are probably friends on Facebook with Lynn, Sheldon, or Megan Griffiths. Probably many of you. They both have films that came out in the last year or so, then came out in different cities, then came out in different countries, then came out on iTunes, then came out on other VOD platforms, then came out for purchase on DVD and that sort of thing. And you guys got all of those updates. They were bragging. They made good films. They deserve to brag. They deserve to say, this is an amazing thing that everybody should see. But they were doing it in such a smart way by engaging. They didn't do it every day. They didn't do it constantly. They had something different to say every time they went on the Facebook, say about their films, like, this is coming out in New Zealand. Here's a picture of Jermaine Clement. It's tie it to something. It's really important to let people know what you're doing, but to do it in a really positive and interesting way. Definitely get on Facebook, but don't make it repetitive, but make it consistent, because people stop paying attention if you don't post. With the Facebook algorithm, you go farther down in the news people like feed and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a very technical reason, but really, if you don't post, people stop kind of looking for what you're doing and what's happening in your world, in your personal world and your professional world. Remembering, of course, in the social world, oftentimes your personal world and your professional world collide. So, always being careful of that. People do actually really like hearing what you're doing. If your film has gotten into a festival, let your social world know. Let your people know. It also helps because then all the people that work with you, your cast and crew, they get to brag about it. They can say, hey, I worked on this amazing thing, or hey, I'm about to start production on this really interesting film. It's all of that together that leads you to being able to brag, but not too much. Just a nice right amount. It's good to set aside the humble for a minute, but keep it close. Keep the humble close. So, what do you do when your film has gotten into a festival? You research. You research ahead of time, and you come prepared. We're screening 450 films, 164 shorts, 280. I've got a few that are just kind of like, hey, maybe, hey, no, yeah. 285 features. So, if you are one of those 450 shorts, what do? It's easy to get lost. We are the largest, but we are no means unique. In every festival, it is very easy for your film to get lost. It's very easy unless you are working at it, unless you have researched and come prepared. When you go to a festival, if you have a film in the festival, even if you don't actually have a film in the festival, but you have a completed film that you would like people to know about, come with postcards. I got a lovely postcard from a film that showed in December at the Film Center. It's like, oh, I'll take that home, look that up, see what that's about. Go with postcards that have a great, if you have a screening link that's public, do that. If you have a website, that's great. If you're actually in a festival, go ahead and put your screening dates and times on that postcard and hand that out to everyone you meet, because you never know who you've just met. People do not, people don't say on their full name tag necessarily, hi, I'm a U.S. distributor looking for independent film content, and please give me your card. That's actually not true. They look normal. They are very normal people, very normal people, and very sly in that. So you never know who you are standing in line with, who you're at, next to at the bar at the festival, who you got down on the dance floor with, whatever you're doing at the festival, which you should do all those things. You never know who you are going to meet and who is going to be interested in your film. You also never know who you are actually interacting with in a large scale group. So Brad, who just left me, I was going to actually have, oh, there he is. One of our programmers does a whole weekend are panels, panels and group discussions. And this year we're showing a film called The Rising Tide, which I probably, whatever, so there it is. It's not the Northwest Connections film, but there's lots of films, titles out there now, do the press launch. But which is produced by two producers who met 2 years ago here with different films. They met and they're like, hey, you're pretty cool, we should do a film together. So one of those things to be prepared with and do your research is what kinds of non-film screening opportunities are there for you as a filmmaker to meet other people, to meet other filmmakers, to learn something. Most every festival has forums. They have educational classes. A lot of them are low cost or free. We're going to tell you a little bit about passes that you can get that make all these things free. A lot of festivals will take filmmakers out and do educational programs out into the schools, out into communities, especially if you have a film that has a specific community that you want to connect to. That's a great way to do it. In the social world, keep everything current. Say, hey, I just talked to 47 second graders about my film. That's an interesting tidbit in the social world that people like to hear. And if you're doing that and you're actually at a festival, know what hashtags to use to get you connected into their greater festival social world. Say social world the whole night. It's apparently what I'm going to do. Ours this year are hashtag SIFF 2015 and hashtag BeWatching. So all of that is going to get you into our retweets. And then we have a whole group. And then there it is. I was like, oh, well, isn't that really interesting? This film's gone out and they were talking to second graders. Oh, here's a picture of them, surrounded by second graders. And then that gets out. That Dustin probably
torn apart by second graders.
Yep, collaboration. So, once you meet people at a festival, follow them. So networking, this is a great way to do it. But if every month we all just came and shook each other's hands and said, oh yeah, it's so good to see you, so good to see you, so good to see you, here's my card, and no one ever followed up, no one ever did anything with each other after this, then this is useless for everyone, right? The whole idea behind this is that you meet people and you start a relationship outside of a networking situation. The festival is just the same thing, it's just a giant networking party. In our case, it's 25 days of networking party. You meet people, you interact, you're like, that sounds great. Follow them. Friend them on Facebook. Follow their Twitter. Start a relationship with them if you think that this is going to be beneficial for one or both of you. So Brad is back in the corner there. That's Brad. And he is happy to answer any questions you have about Catalyst. We have a whole day worth of panels. Our keynote is IFP's President Amy Dotson. We've got some great people coming in to talk about a lot of different things. So, my last thing. You are always on. Always, 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 always. If you are a filmmaker in a festival and you're wearing a badge, you are on. You are on in the bathroom. You are on in the beer line. You are on everywhere you are because people identify you as a filmmaker. They either want to talk to you, or they want to avoid you, or they want there's some interaction that they either want or don't want with you. So develop your voice. Many people develop a whole different personality. That came out wrong. I was about to say just like me right now, but you have your public personality. You're like, hi, I'm a filmmaker. Hi, I'm Beth. Nice to meet you. That is so interesting. It's a way to be someone that is very engaged, very interested, very interesting, and very on. And then when you take off your badge, you can go back to being the person watching Bones on the couch. That is absolutely fine. But when you're at a festival, you are not that person. You are this person. You are the person who made an amazing film, and you work with amazing people, and you really want somebody to see it. You want to talk to them about it. You want them to come see your film. You want to connect with them. You want them to know who you are as a filmmaker. So you're always, always on. So, specifically to SIFF, what are a couple of different ways that you can get involved in SIFF? the Seattle Filmmakers Initiative Pass, which we have two different accreditation applications. I'm going to turn this one. The SFI Pass, which is this one, is will get you into, it's a very low cost sort of entry-level industry thing. And Dustin's going to pass them out. It actually will allow you to go see press screenings. We'll get you into all the forums for free. We'll get you invited to different parties, and also comes with a membership to SIFF for the year. Now we, obviously with 5 screens running year-round, we do a lot of programming and a lot of different things. And so this is, if you're living in Seattle and you're involved, this is a great way to really capitalize on that. If you are looking for a little deeper, more industry-oriented experience at SIFF, we do have industry passes available as well. That you have to sort of prove a little bit more that you are working in the industry. And that is sort of like a full series pass light. It'll get you into general screenings and that sort of thing. We're happy to answer any specific questions about either of these passes if you have them. So, what we're all here now, though, is for the Northwest Connections launch. So, we live in just an extraordinary city. Really an extraordinary city. Bumbershoot made its first announcement for music this morning. We had our press launch also this morning. There is so much going on in the next number of months here, and we are really blessed with incredible arts. We are also blessed with incredible film. And people throw around the whole Crewtopia line, but it is actually true. There are so many films that were not shot here, that were not made here, that don't even have a director or producer or anything else that lived or ever worked in Seattle, but the cinematographer did, and the guy doing the music did. And, the composer, there's 2 actors from Seattle who went on and did other things, or maybe they still live here, they just got hired out to do something else. We really have grown some amazing industry here, and it's really, we're very proud to be part of being able to bring that out into the world and get a bigger international stage for it. So we have 35 films in Northwest Connections this year, between features, documentary length features, and short films. And they are going to be up here very much smaller than any of you can read. Which I just realized is true, and I thought I printed that out larger. Okay, so I'm just going to read them. Our features this year are Eric Hammond's Beach Town, Body Slam, Revenge of the Banana, which I had no idea Seattle had a whole professional, semi-professional wrestling thing. That was amazing. That was incredible to learn. The Glamour and the Squalor by Marco Collins, The Hollow One, Paper Tigers, Pilchuck, A Dance with Fire, Primary Instinct, Uncertain, Valley of the Sasquatch, and West Redemption. In our short films, and yes, you can give those people a clap. There we go. In our short films, Best Driver in the County, Big Boy. Yeah! Chasing the Sun from Mr. Jeremy Mackey, Drift, El Camino Solo, Even the Walls, The Gift, Hagerasab, Impact the Boxer Story, Live Fast, Draw Young, Lost Mariner, Louis Riel for Dinner, Luchadora, Lucky, Mother's Song, Meandering, Meat Locker, OMW, Refraction, Rosa These Storms, Surface Waves, The Things We Keep, Through the Ground Glass, and Tondro. Give them all a huge round of applause. We got about 200 films that qualified for local films to assess, and these are 35 of them. So it is really just that there are 200 out there, 200 films being made out there every year that get sent to us. And I know there are more that just don't, that go and they have their own lives. That's terrific. There's such amazing work being done here in Seattle. And the Office of Film and Music is a big part of that. Washington Filmworks. Amy was totally right. So you gotta keep looking at your senators, because the more money that we can invest in our industry, the more films will be up here. There is a direct line. Amen. Direct line. So, are there any questions? Y'all knew I had a hard out, didn't you? Oh yeah, yeah.
So how do you come off if everybody's saying, oh, everybody at work was so amazing, blah, 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 blah. So when you're a filmmaker at a forum, how do you come off sounding genuine and not, yeah, everybody working with this is amazing, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that is, I mean, yeah, you gotta do all of this, and you can't sound like a dick. I mean, that's totally true. Because it is really true. Oh my God, that is so amazing. And you're like, yeah, no, that's not. I would say that you believe in what you did, right? Mm-hmm. You have faith. You know that the people that worked for you were great and did the best that they could at the time. And I think just being able to be present and think about all of the effort that they put in keeps you from sounding disingenuous. I think you can't just go out there and shout, everything is amazing, everything is awesome, every second of my film is a masterpiece. It's not. I mean, none of every second of anything that any of us do is a masterpiece. But I think by being really present and really honoring the work that you did, the work that your crew did, the work that the audience is doing watching it, I think that keeps us grounded just enough to be proud and to be, to brag a little bit, but to not come off false. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hi, Corey.
Do we have to wait to Twitter about this till tomorrow, Beth?
No, you may tweet about it.
We can tweet it now?
Yes, the back table will now be tweeting about this redemption.
You got it.
Yeah.
My name is Georgio Brown. I'm a filmmaker.
Hi, Georgio. Well done.
This folks like festival will probably be very a journey I've been taking here in Seattle. I'm from New York, but I came up here with a video camera in the 90s. I've been filming local hip hop evolution from Mixalot to Mountain. So, folks like this year, I get a chance to show this. Hopefully you guys will get a chance to come out and see it. How's that?
That was perfect. So many places in Seattle to see film. Northwest Film Forum is a great one. Folklife is going to do a whole weekend worth of video and art about hip hop here in Seattle, which is great. Film and art about hip hop, and that's just like that's right here in this room. There's more. There's a whole lot more. So yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the publishing department here now that you've been through it?
Yes, and I've been through it very, very recently. I just had to proof the entire catalog yesterday. It took me 14 hours to proof the entire catalog. It was painful. It was painful. So publishing is interesting. We still do a free guide, which will be out in neighborhood Starbucks starting tomorrow. Also, a lot of different bars and coffee shops and that sort of thing, and our theaters, of course. We still do a catalog, like a big, heavy catalog. That's about it, paper-wise. Everything has moved into the digital world, as we all know. Nobody writes any checks anymore. You just transfer money. Nobody writes letters anymore. You just write emails. Everything's transferred into the digital world. We still print a fair amount of paper, but digitally, it's the same thing. You still have to go through. You still have to write good blurbs. You still have to write blurbs that encourage people to go see the movies. You still have to do all that. You still have to proof them because we're all human. And spell check does not understand what you're saying. Despite what you think it is, it really does not understand at all what you're saying. So yeah, we still have to go through the whole process, and it's still painful. I still don't get paid for it. But it is easier now to get it out, to get those descriptions out into the digital world, because we can just pop it up, go up on my Facebook in the next 20 minutes, stuff like that. So kind of yeah. So SIFF is May 14 to June 7. We will be screening an enormous amount of films and an enormous amount of places at the Harvard Exit for 24 days. So I trust all of you will take at least one visit to the Harvard Exit to truly say goodbye, as we're all very, Seattle moves on. Seattle is a fastest growing city in America, which I think is great because it just brings more people, more art, more people to come to the art, more people to come to films, more people to do interesting things with. So, I hope to see you all at some of these Northwest Connections films. I want to thank Kate and Amy for having us here again. And we do have applications up here. And if you have questions, you can find Dustin and I on the website. Just look for our names, and it's pretty easy. We may not get back to you right away, but we will get back to you. So, excellent. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your day.